Hey there. What we're going to be tying today is a caddis emerger pattern, commonly called the Caddis, developed by Craig Matthews out of Blue Ribbon Flies in West Yellowstone, Montana. Most southern trout streams have a healthy population of caddis flies which come off summertime. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to match that, the little merger pattern. Common pattern for a caddis is an elk hair caddis, dry fly pattern anyway. But when those flies are emerging, those bugs are emerging, you need something that's a little closer to the water. So the materials we're going to be using today are a TMC 100 size 14 hook. You can also tie this down to about an 18. You start about a 16. Or tail is going to be Betts or Metz standard Ceylon, dark olive. And we're going to use some deer hair as the wing. Okay. Then we'll use some olive dubbing, some dry fly dubbing. So let's get the tying here. Now, the first thing we're going to do is put our thread on the hook. We'll just snap that off, just like that. The next I'm going to let's trim that down just a little bit. I didn't snap quite clean, so there we go. Okay, now we're going to take this thread back to the bend of the hook, which is basically the barb. Right. Put a layer of thread onto the hook, and we're just going to go ahead and do that all the way up and down that hook. Keeping the profile slender. Okay. I'll leave our thread right there. I'm going to take a small amount of Ceylon. You can also use Antron yarn for this. This looks about like this. We're going to do about a hook gap's length, which there again we're just going to have to putter with it a little bit, but that's about it. So we're going to hold our right hand and transfer it to our left. Tie it down right there, making a wrap or two. Check the length, making sure that's up on top of the hook. Okay. Tie it down a little tighter. Come forward just a little bit. And we're going to trim this. We're not going to do this the whole length of the body on this fly. You can compress that down enough so it will not affect the taper on the fly. So the next step is we're going to take and just layer a little more thread down. We're going to come back the tail again. The shuck is what it actually is. Going to wax the thread a little bit. We'll use this dubbing. Now this is Hairtron olive tan dubbing. That's about the color you want. Just something kind of a light olive color. Some dry fly dubbing. And we're going to take this and we're just going to dab it on here. Now always with dubbing, remember less is more. You can always put more back on. Harder to get it off. A little skinny spot right there. We'll add a little bit too. Okay, there we go. Now we're going to make an even body here. Let's keep this. There we go. Dubbing to this. This is a real quick, easy tie. This darn fly catches a lot of fish, so it's important to have at least a few of these in your box. just looks buggy. Now we're going to trim some of that excess stuff off here in just a second since we get through this step. But bugginess is not a bad thing. Okay. Now that's just a little too shaggy for my taste, so we're just going to that's so pretty. Alright, so we got our body and our shucks, and now it's time to get the wing on this thing. And we're going to use some deer hair. Now this particular hair came from a hide that my buddy shot back a few years back, and I tanned it, or treated it I guess you would say, but you don't need much hair for this fly. Just take about that amount right there. He's going to cut it right next to the thing. Now you're going to have a bunch of hoodats and everything. You just got to stroke those out. You get it like that. Okay, let's do about a little bit, so we'll take a few of those out of there. Yeah, that'll work. Now we're going to take our hair stacker right here. Gonna pop those down in there. Tap it a few times. Pull it out of there. Okay. There we go. Alright, get the junk out of there. Okay, that needs stacking again, so let's try that one more time. Much better. Okay. Now, you want the end of this wing to be just out over the body, about like that. So you're going to hold that there, and come back here. Okay, you're going to pinch that, and you notice where I am behind the eye. I'm just probably a hook or a eye length width behind the eye. I'm just going to come around softly a couple times. Okay. There's 3. And you're going to want to splay that wing just a little bit, so tighten down on a little bit, just like that. And you just keep turning a little bit there. There you go. Okay. Come back here, just pull that back, get all the hair in your finger, between your fingers, just going to build up a little thread dam right there, and hold that back, and then you're just going to whip finish it. Okay, now we're almost through. What we're going to do is we want to leave the wing and trim this other hair. So what technique here is to just take and grab it between your thumb and forefinger, and using the same angle as the eye of the hook, you just come here and trim it down. Just give it a little haircut, just like that. Okay, and you'll have some little fuzzies here. Take those out, trim that down, trim that off. Okay. Here. Okay. The Caddis. That thing will float right on the water. Trim this little right here. Some unsuspecting trout will come along and think that's lunch, so enjoy.